Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. This is the final part of the Every New Zealand Grand Prix Winner Ever trilogy of videos, so make sure you watch parts 1 and 2 before you sink your teeth into this offering. In part 3 we are looking at the final 18 winners of the famous Grand Prix race, going through the Formula Ford, Toyota Racing Series and the current Formula Regional Oceania phases of the championship, going from 2001 to the race just gone in the current year 2024. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and let's jump into this final part of what happened to the New Zealand Grand Prix winners. 2002 Fabian Kard. Well, there was no race in 2001, so we actually start with 2002 and the winner of that race was Fabian Kard. No relation to Scottish big-chinned Formula 1 driver David Coulthard. This Kiwi was the first to win in a Formula Ford, beating American sports car legend Brian Sellers and Champ Car and NASCAR race winner AJ Allmendinger to the crown. After a couple of seasons in British Formula Renault, Fabian has spent the majority of his time in Australian V8s, taking 12 wins and a couple of podiums at Bathurst, and a Porsche Carrera Australia title. 2003 Johnny Reid. After a dominant New Zealand Grand Prix performance in 2003, Johnny Reid did go on to have a brief European career. He finished 4th overall in the 2004 Euro Formula Series and even managed to finish runner-up in A1GP with Team New Zealand 2 seasons in a row. After that he had a brief spell in America and returned to Australia for some V8 racing, never managing to grab hold of a stable full-time seat, and now races occasionally in GT and endurance racing. 2005 Simon Gamble. Possibly the least known driver on the list, won the New Zealand Grand Prix in 2005 but never left the realm of New Zealand Formula Ford, and his career seems to have stopped after 2006. 2006 Hammad Alfadan. The only Bahrainian to win the New Zealand Grand Prix, possibly the only one to ever enter, was Hammad Alfadan, who held off Daniel Gaunt and Brendan Hartley in 2006. This was the first time the Grand Prix was won under the Toyota Racing Series banner. Alfadan mostly competed in Asia in the Formula BMW and Formula V6 series, of which he would be champion in 2009. He did also race in the British Formula 3 national class and even managed to get a drive in GP2 Asia, with a 5th place in Malaysia. After his 2009 Formula V6 win and run in GP2 Asia, he seems to have given up on motorsport in favour of being a musician, despite Kamui Kobayashi tipping him to be Formula 1's first Middle Eastern driver. 2007 and 2009 Daniel Gaunt. Two-time Toyota Racing Series champion Daniel Gaunt also won 2 New Zealand Grand Prix. He had a brief attempt at Champ Car Atlantic before his first New Zealand win, and after has mostly been racing in Australia in GT racing. He has had a few goes at V8 supercars over the years, but without much success, finding the odd win here and there, and is a decent steady hand in Australian and New Zealand GT racing. 2008 Andy Knight. Amazingly, Andy Knight beat Matt Halliday and Earl Bamber to win the 2008 New Zealand Grand Prix and has been a fixture in New Zealand racing ever since. Not really being a successful driver, he has raced for a long while in the New Zealand Muscle Series and various New Zealand touring car races. The New Zealand Grand Prix was the high point of his career. 2010 Earl Bamber. After finishing on the podium for the last couple of years, Earl Bamber finally won in 2010. This is where we get another jump in quality drivers. Whilst Earl Bamber's single-seater career is nothing special, he won 2 Australian Porsche titles, the Porsche Super Cup, 2 Bathurst 12-hour races, 2 24 hours of Le Mans wins, as well as a World Endurance title, Nürburgring, conquered, IMSA GT title, and is now part of Cadillac's World Endurance Hypercar and Corvette's IMSA GT programs, so more success is likely on the horizon for Mr. Bamber. 2011 Mitch Evans. The guy I keep predicting will win the Formula E title, and I'm sure he will win it eventually. Mitch Evans beat future Formula 1 driver Daniel Kvyat for the 2011 New Zealand Grand Prix win. A year later he was GP3 champion as well, and then took 5 wins in 4 years of GP2. Since then he has been racing for Jaguar in Formula E, taking 10 wins and spending the last few years as a real title contender who just can't take that last jump to win the title. 2012, 2013 and 2014 Nick Cassidy. Mitch Evans' current teammate at Jaguar in Formula E went one step further than Mitch Evans and won the New Zealand Grand Prix 3 times. Whilst he has taken a win in European Formula 3, he really made a name for himself in Japan, winning the 2015 Japanese F3 Series, 2017 Super GT and Super Formula in 2019. He has taken wins in the DTM and is now a top contender in Formula E, finishing runner-up to Jake Dennis in 2023 and after 2 rounds leads the championship for Jaguar in 2024. He was also the last driver to win multiple New Zealand Grand Prix. 2015 Lance Stroll. Canadian Formula 1 legend Lance Stroll won the New Zealand Grand Prix nearly 10 years ago. The last time a driver who won the New Zealand Grand Prix and raced in Formula 1 was back in 1982, Roberto Moreno, so it had been a while. He would win the Formula 3 European Series in 2016 and would be a Formula 1 driver by 2017, first for Williams, then Racing Point and Aston Martin. He has taken 3 podiums in his 7 Formula 1 seasons, and in 2024 he had his best ever year, finishing in the top 10 in the championship for the first time ever. 2016 Lando Norris. And now the last driver to win the New Zealand Grand Prix and race in Formula 1 so far, Lando Norris. Amazingly, he has been a Formula 1 driver for a couple of years less than Lance Stroll and yet has only finished outside the top 10 once in his debut year. He too won the Formula 3 European Championship and finished runner-up to George Russell in Formula 2. He began racing in Formula 1 for McLaren in 2018 and is now one of the top stars in Formula 1. 2017 Jehan Daruvala. Indian driver Jehan Daruvala looked like a star of the future himself in 2017. He made 2 attempts at the Formula 3 European Championship, but couldn't match the success of the previous 2 winners. He finished 3rd in Formula 3 in 2019 for Prema, and then spent 4 seasons in Formula 2 with Carlin, Prema and MP and took 4 wins, but was never really in title contention. And with no Formula 1 drive forthcoming, and having been dropped by the Red Bull Academy, Daruvala is now in Formula E with Maserati. 2018 Richard Verschoor. The Dutchman is a highly underrated young driver, New Zealand Grand Prix winner ahead of Ferrari Academy driver Robert Schwartzman, and a year later he won the Macau Grand Prix also. He was mediocre at best in Formula 3, but since being in Formula 2 he has outperformed the cars he's given and taken 3 wins. He's not really a title contender, but he has been running consistently over the last few years. I doubt he'll get a chance in Formula 1, but I'm sure he'll have a strong career in motorsport, probably endurance racing. 2019 Liam Lawson. Oh yeah, he got to drive in Formula 1 as well, briefly. I guess he's the last New Zealand Grand Prix winner to drive in Formula 1 so far, briefly. This race was made easier when half the field were taken out mid-race in a large crash, with Lawson going on to win ahead of Marcus Armstrong. That being said, Liam Lawson has never actually won any championships outside the Toyota Racing Series. 2nd in Euro Formula, 2nd in the Toyota Racing Series in 2020, 2nd in DTM, 2nd in Super Formula. He's good, but it would be nice to see him win something outright. 2020 Igor Fraga. Brazilian Gran Turismo star Igor Fraga won the 2020 New Zealand Grand Prix and the Toyota Racing Series ahead of Liam Lawson. Whilst Liam Lawson has gone on to race in Formula 1, Fraga's career has been on a downhill slide ever since. He scored a single point in Formula 3 in 2020, then disappeared for a few years and resurfaced in Japan. He raced in Super Lights in 2023 and will be in the secondary class of Super GT in 2024 for his 2nd season. He finished 23rd last year. 2021 Shane van Gisbergen. In the COVID-hit year of 2021, a completely New Zealand field of old and young drivers took part in the New Zealand Grand Prix. V8 Supercars champion Shane van Gisbergen dominated the weekend. In the New Zealand Grand Prix, he pitted, went to the back of the field, overtook everyone, and took his first New Zealand Grand Prix win. It was one of the most incredible drives I've ever seen, and a year later I made him my race driver of the year. He also won a 3rd V8 Supercars title, 2 Bathurst 1000s, and won his NASCAR race debut in Chicago. Now he is in America, moving on to bigger things, as the Kiwi invasion of the United States continues. 2023 Laurens Vanthof. After a year off, the New Zealand Grand Prix returned in 2023 and was won by Laurens Vanthof, the next Dutch superstar, or one of the next Dutch superstars. He's had a couple of years in Formula Regional European and has been a top 10 runner, moving up to Formula 3 in 2024 with ART. 2024 Liam Skeets. The final driver on our list and the 50th different winner of a New Zealand Grand Prix is Liam Skeets. He's only been racing for a few years and the New Zealand Grand Prix is his most notable result. having finished second in Formula Regional Japan in 2023 and the Formula Regional Oceania Series in 2024. I'm not sure what his plans are for the rest of the year. Maybe he'll return to Japan or follow Callum Hedges' moves by going to America, or maybe even try his hand at Formula Regional Europe. He might just be one driver you need to keep an eye on for the future. So that ends our look at all 50 drivers to have won the New Zealand Grand Prix from 1950 to 2024. From the likes of Sterling Moss and Jack Brabham, to Ken Smith and Greg Murphy, to the likes of Lance Stroll and Liam Mesquite. It is quite a history. Just a shame so much of it is missing. A lot of winners are not very well documented, whole races have no information that is easy to find about them, and the first ever winner is a complete mystery to everyone. More needs to be known about the races that have gone missing from the history books. But for my part, thank you for watching the What Happened to Every New Zealand Grand Prix Winner Ever trilogy. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you once again for everything, and have a good one.